one of my favorite things to do is go to bike stores and check out new bikes. One thing I did do is recently I went down to my local bike store and I went to go look at the bikes. And as I was looking around, man, I seen a lot of decent bikes. I seen a lot of bikes that I love. Cervelos, I seen some Cannondales, I seen some Specialized bikes, and man, it got me to thinking, like, man, you know, these bikes are so cool, and like, how, like, who's buying these bikes? Because literally every time I go into the stores, they're the same bikes. I mean, literally the same bikes in these stores. Like, how are these bike stores making money? So I started doing a little bit of research, and I'm like, man, like, who's buying these bikes? Why are they still sitting there? I guarantee you, if I go down to the bike store right now, that bike is still there. And when I mean, like, these bikes got a ticket on them, I mean, look at this. This bike is $15,000. So who is buying these bikes? I know during the pandemic it was an uptick in people buying bikes, but like, who are buying these bikes? So I actually came across something really interesting, that a lot of bike companies are going bust right now. A lot of bike companies have done their projections off of the 2020 pandemic sales, and how everybody got into being outside and being on their bikes. And I'm pretty sure a lot of different companies have gotten an uptick over the pandemic, because a lot of people couldn't do things. A lot of people were working from home or whatever. A lot of people were looking for ways to get out and get active. And just like every other fad, at some point it goes down. And a lot of these bike companies, they were betting on this uptick in people getting out and getting active, and now a lot of their inventory is sitting, and it's expensive. A lot of this stuff is really, really expensive. And like I said, these bikes are like expensive. Like, you look at these bikes. Oh no, that's my bike. That's a cool bike. But a lot of these bikes are really expensive. I mean, you have bikes from anywhere. I mean, nothing. The cheapest bike in this store right now is $1,200 in American money. At that point, you're not even getting the top notch things. Your drivetrain is very mediocre. You're not even getting the top level tires, or well, maybe the tires are pretty decent, but you're not getting the top level, you know, um, gears. You're not getting the top level drivetrain. You know, you're getting a mediocre bike. And usually people like to buy these bikes and upgrade them, but by the time you upgrade them, unless you're doing the work yourself, by the time you upgrade them, a lot of the prices for the drivetrains and for the gear shifters are really expensive. And by the time you pay for labor to get these things put on your bike, you should have just bought a brand new bike. Probably a lot of the bigger companies is going to start buying up some of the smaller companies, or you're going to have a situation where you're going to be able to get a bike for really, 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 really cheap, but you're not going to be able to find, like, you know a lot of parts for it. Now, granted, I mean, a bike isn't hard for maintenance, but if you, I think one of the bike companies, the cranks just broke, like, and they had to do a recall on all of the cranks. I think it was Shimano, and they had to do a recall on their cranks. So it's like, even the parts are not, you know, really good, or they're not being manufactured the way that they should be, and you're having problems with that. So at some point, you're just going to have a flood of just used and bikes that are maybe not up to par or standard to what they should be. And I thought it was interesting because biking is expensive. Cycling is expensive. I mean, everything down to the kit, everything down to the shoes. I mean, some of the top cycling shoes is about $500. You got socks that's expensive. You got skin suits that are super expensive. The bibs, I mean, just a top and a bib is about, one of the top level bibs is about $175, and that's not even including the skin fitting top that you can buy, or the undershirt that you can buy. Not even including the glasses that you can buy. The helmet is about $100. So you know, cycling is really expensive, and you're starting to see companies that just were projecting that this uptick in people buying cycling stuff is really, really high, or keep the growth is going to keep going, and you have companies that are probably going to struggle and that's going to go out of business, and what are they going to do with all their things? So um, if you know, write in the comments. Write in the comments below. Follow for more cycling news and cycling tips, and I'll keep you posted on the things that I see.